Breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death in women around the world, and now Canadian researchers just made a major breakthrough in fighting it. Doctors at the Women's College Hospital in Toronto have identified a new genetic variant with a significant link to breast cancer. It's a finding with the potential to improve detection, to improve treatment and save lives. Joining me now is the study's principal investigator, Dr. Mohammed Reza Akbari. Doctor, good to have you in studio this morning.
Thank you for having me in your program.
So I want to be clear, because this gene is known as, is it ATRIP?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
So, and I want to be clear on this, because that is different from the gene that we've heard in the past, the BRCA gene, right?
Yes.
That could lead to an increased risk of certain cancers. So what can you tell us about ATRIP?
Yeah, ATRIP, is a gene involved in detecting DNA damages. It's different from BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes. Those genes are involved in repairing DNA damages, but ATRIP involved in a process that detect DNA damages and then orchestrating downstream protein interaction for repairing those damages.
So what does that mean for somebody watching right now that doesn't have the scientific language? Yeah. What does that mean?
It means that if somebody have a mutation in ATRIP gene that result in dysfunction in ATRIP, that individual prone to accumulating more genetic mutations in their genome that eventually results in developing cancer.
Okay, so we know that in Canada, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer during their lifetime, which is a shocking number. Yeah. So what does this discovery mean for treatment?
Sure, yeah. As you mentioned, 1 out of 8, women in Canada would be diagnosed with breast cancer during their lifetime. And we know that about 5 to 10% of women with breast cancer would have hereditary breast cancer. It means that they have a genetic, variation in their genome, such as BRCA1, BRCA2, or ATRIP. So what we showed in our study is that those who have a mutation in ATRIP gene, they have a specific characteristic in their tumors that actually is a hallmark in responding to a specific group of therapies called PARP inhibitors. So this is important that we know if somebody have a mutation in, that gene, then we would have a better tools for treating those patients. Although we still need to do more research for confirming those preliminary, results, but those are very promising,
right?
Yeah.
So how are these findings already being used by Women's College Hospital to improve the detection of cancer?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have many familial breast cancer cases that when we test them for previously known genes, mutation in those genes, we do not find any mutation in those genes, okay? And then the family members are in kind of, limbo. They don't know really what's going on in their family. So every time that we discover a new breast cancer susceptibility genes, we have a new genes to screen in those families and hopefully identify the genes responsible for higher, incidence rate of breast cancer in those families.
Can someone just go and get tested for this? How does that work?
Not at this point at the clinical level. However, if anybody interested to be tested, for this gene, we can definitely recruit them in our research program at Women's College Hospital.
What was this like for you to be part of this discovery? It had to be a big moment.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Actually, this is international collaboration with our colleagues in Poland, my colleagues in Laval University in Quebec, and this is a large project, and we are all excited about the gene, and of course we have a lot of more work to do ahead of us.
Yeah, and speaking of that, what does this discovery do to further our understanding of all forms of breast cancer?
That's actually a very good question, because always people say that if hereditary cancer responsible only 5 to 10% of breast cancer, what's important to identify the genes associated with those hereditary cancer? And the answer is that, yes, the initial, benefits of discovering breast cancer susceptibility genes is for those who carry a mutation, okay? However, every single gene that we identify as a breast cancer susceptibility gene will improve our general understanding about the biology of breast cancer that eventually will help us to develop more better targeted treatments for breast cancer in general.
Well, it is a really, really exciting discovery. We appreciate you coming on and explaining it to us. Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you for having me in your program.
All right.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.